What is going on, everybody? This is Josh from Sorcerer Studios, and it has been such a long time since I've made a video. But the finals are finally over, and I'm finally going to begin working on major aspects of the game again. Now, I've been doing a lot of thinking over the past month, and I've made a new prototyping scene because of it. So, I believe that I have been kind of focusing on things that do not go towards the minimum viable product. And basically, a minimum viable product, in short, is basically your game with only the core functions. So like, there's no brute in the game, because the brute is pretty much a fully fleshed out enemy, whereas the core functions of it are not fully completed. So, in fact, actually, I'm going to get rid of this brute real quickly. There we go. So, basically, now, I purposefully got rid of the brute because the brute is pretty much the definition of our distraction from pretty much the core function in which we're trying to work with. So, I made a very simple prototyping scene, and this is basically just to develop and test out all of the core functions that go into Ethan, and pretty much everything else that's in the game. So there's a couple of things that I really think I need to work on as far as the development of Ethan goes. Now, I've made the basic functions of the camera and the movement and his animations, his inventory, and pretty much everything. However, not all of it is completely fleshed out, like it's not really perfected. So two things that are on my mind right now are the combat system and the camera system, because one thing that you might have noticed is the camera's a bit jittery when Ethan moves around. As you can see, the camera doesn't really stay in one place when Ethan rotates and when he crouches, although the crouching rotation is, the crouching movement is probably a good thing. And also, there's also no camera collision, and that's pretty much it with the camera. Also, you can't zoom in and out, but that's probably just an easy fix. And so that's pretty much everything that I'm going to try to address with the camera. In fact, actually, I'll give you a better understanding as to why the camera actually moves around like this. Here, let me show you real quickly. So here's basically what's going on. So the camera, which is right here, is rotating around an object called the camera target, and this is where the camera makes a spherical path of orbit around it, and the camera has a bunch of settings that determine the smoothing and basically what the radius is, but pretty much here is where the camera target is. It's not in the center of Ethan, and that's a problem, because if we were to get kind of a top-down view, the camera makes a circular orbit around the camera target. However, Ethan spins around, and his center of rotation is himself. So basically, let's see, I can probably show you this here. Basically, when Ethan turns around, the camera target is not set in one place. So as you can see, when Ethan moves around, if I could do it right, yeah, there we go. If Ethan moves around, the camera target is not in the right place. Now, this could obviously be fixed if the camera if the camera target was right in the center of Ethan's head, as you can see right here. See, that makes it absolutely perfect. If you look at the game window, see, when Ethan rotates, the camera is staying still. However, that brings up a problem, because as you can see, Ethan can't pick up any objects because the cursor is always focused on Ethan's head. So that's why the camera target has to be a little bit beside Ethan so that he can pick up swords, basically, and pick up other objects. So that's basically why the camera target is where it is. and that sword just fell through the ground. That's another bug. But anyways, those are the main problems that I've been observing with the camera. So that's one thing that I'm going to try to fix. And also, so that's the first major problem. The second major problem is the combat system. And Ethan can pick up a sword and he can use an animation, or a set of animations. Now, also, these are not the final animation. In fact, actually, this isn't even the final version of Ethan. As you've seen in my previous game devlog series videos, you can see that I'm working on a new Ethan. However, I might halt a little bit on that just to get some of the core functions completed before I work on more fleshed out characters of Ethan. But currently, Ethan can just swing the sword and stuff, and he has a magic attack. So pretty much along with the camera movement, I'm going to be working on the combat system. I'm going to just set up some basic enemy cubes, kind of like this one, except that actually Ethan's sword can move it. Basically like this one, except it's not going to be made out of glass. It's probably going to just be red or something, red for an enemy. But yeah, so I'm just going to set up a bunch of test enemies, not the brute or the sentinel or anything fancy like that. I'm just going to set that up and I'm going to test it out. Hey, that sword did not fall through the ground. That's a good thing. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Basically working on taking the health away from an enemy, having an enemy take health away from Ethan. Just basically a basic combat system. And also the vision system, which is, I'd say, almost fleshed out. As a reminder, the vision system is the amount of time that it takes for an enemy to see you, and it's weighted based on how far away you are from the enemy. And there's some math that goes into it, but that's basically the general gist of things. So that's pretty much what I mean when I say the core functions. Of course, those aren't all of the core functions; those are just two of them. Some other ones that I could think of would be something like the armor system, but those will come in the future. So this is kind of a pivot of what I'm going to be doing from now on until these problems are fixed. Like, I won't be getting into very much of the fancy stuff, so to speak. As I've been working on earlier, like actually creating the dungeon, I think we need to actually focus on more of the core values, or not core values, core functions before moving on. I probably will make a more in-depth video about this, but I just wanted to tell you guys that that's what I'm going to be doing. And wow, I'm sorry that this is a boring, it's not, well, I don't know if it's boring to you, but to me it seems like this is probably more of a boring first video back. But guys, I'm really glad to finally be back, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys are still on board with this game that I'm developing, that Matt and I are developing. So, without further ado, I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.